Hi everyone, I'm Shauna and welcome to my channel. This video is really my own response or take on this feeling I've been having lately, which is a general overwhelm with my collection. I've been feeling really overwhelmed with the quantity of things that I have, and I really just wanted to, I guess, get back to basics. What I decided to do was curate a makeup bag. It is like a rather large and in charge makeup bag, but I decided to just pick the products that I really know and love and stick with these for a couple of months. Shopping my stash has been really helpful with reacquainting me with my collection. I've had a lot of products that have just been sitting in there, untried, untested, and I don't know how I feel about them. So Shop My Stash was a really great way to kind of start getting in touch with what I own. However, this kind of feeling of overwhelm led me to put that aside for now and to curate a makeup bag like I used to do my makeup and live with this bag for a month, maybe 2 months. I don't really foresee myself living out of this for longer than 3 months max, but really, like, in a sense, this is, I guess, no different than a Shop My Stash, but in my mind, it feels different. Like, these are the things that I know and love that, like, I can rely on, and I can kind of forget about everything else for a while, and maybe I'll learn something from this. Maybe I'll realize I don't need a particular product, but this was just the best way that I knew how to kind of just challenge that feeling. I'm going to introduce you to all the products that I picked, and this is going to be my makeup for the next few months. The only parameter that I set for this makeup bag was that I could not exceed the makeup bag except for 2 palettes. And I actually suspected that I would only be able to pick 2 palettes, but a few actually fit inside. The makeup bag is full, but like, it's not actually to the brim full. Like, there's so much room right in here. Can we see? Yeah, there's so much room right in here. I could put a lot more products in there than I did, but I did my best to be as minimal as possible. And this is probably the closest thing I'll come to being a minimalist. So let's get into the products. The primer that I chose is the First Aid Beauty Primer. I don't really feel any kind of way but my primers for the most part, and so I just kind of picked this. My skin texture has been feeling a little bit dry, and this is fairly moisturizing, so it just kind of seemed like the natural pick. Like, I've already been working on it and I like it, so why not keep going? You will notice a lot of Project Pan items in here because they are genuinely some of my favorite products that I own. For foundation, I chose 2. I chose the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation in the shade 010 Light Beige, and then the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation, Studio Fix Fluid in NC13. I really like each of these separately, and I really especially love mixing them together. I chose not to put in a light coverage product because I just don't have any that I would consider a love, so I chose these 2 instead. For powder, I just picked the only kind of pressed powder that is open at the moment, and it's the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Pressed Powder. I don't know if I've ever said the shade on this, but it's 120 Classic Ivory. I do have one more powder on backup, and if I happen to finish it in the next couple of weeks or months, then I'll just put that one in the collection instead. I do actually want to just address the setting spray because it's like the biggest product that's kind of sitting at the top. I have one setting spray, and it's the Urban Decay All Nighter. I do like a setting spray, so this guy is included. Next up for bronzer, I included the Colourpop Bronzer that I've been working on my Project Pan. This is the only bronzer that's currently in use. There it is. I'm not particularly finicky with bronzer like I am with a lot of other things. So because I've been working on one, like, I'm totally fine to just have one here. I didn't talk about concealer, and I actually chose 2. I chose the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer and this mini of the Nars in Light to vanilla. I really, really love this. This is like the favorite concealer of the moment. I'm wearing it today. I'm actually wearing everything basically today. Not this one, but this one. And everything so far I've mentioned I'm wearing today. I really love this, and just for a little bit of variety, I included the Nars one. I do like that one as well. I chose not to put in a face concealer because I don't use them all that much, and because the goal of this was to be minimal, I just chose two regular kind of face concealers. The blush. This is probably the category. There's three categories that I would say I went overboard in. That would be blush, lip products, and eyeshadow products. That would really be it. I chose 5 blushes. I get it. Like, I get it. I know that's obnoxious, but I really love a blush. I really, really do. And I don't know, moments like this really solidify the kind of collection that I own. I chose 2 glossy cloud paints, Dusk and Puff. Puff is like a really, really beautiful spring color, at least in my opinion. And one of the things I noticed when working on this project of putting this bag together, I noticed that I don't have a light pink blush very much like this color. And that's actually something that I would want to get. I believe that if I got a pink blush in this kind of shade, but like in a powder form, I believe that would complete my collection, like where I would have the perfect collection in my own eyes. Now, I don't think I'm gonna go do that anytime soon because I really like want to live with this, and if I'm feeling overwhelmed with what I own, it doesn't really make sense to go and buy more things. That's just something that I observed, and I want to, you know, live with this iteration of a makeup bag to kind of see if those feelings are right. So I chose those 2. And the reason why I chose this is because I don't have a powder blush in this kind of color, so that's in there. And then I chose 3 compact blushes. The first 2 aren't a surprise if you watch my videos. The first one is the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur blush in Blurred Buff. There we go. Total favorite, I would say. These 3 blushes are probably in my top 3 blushes that I own. So love that. And then I guess I spoiled it. I have the MAC Melba blush, really lovely color, and in my opinion kind of perfect for spring. And then I chose a neutral blush, which is Tarte's Party. This is the closest thing that I own to a light pink blush. Now when you swatch it, or in the pan, it looks more neutral brown than it does pink. But when you swatch it, I mean, blushes don't swatch well in general. That's kind of what it looks like. And to me in this light, it looks on the pink side. And I do really, really like this formula. So that's my pink blush. And it is pretty neutral, so it goes with a lot of looks. I don't believe that I said the powder that I chose, and I picked the Lawless setting powder. I was really debating between this and the Glossier, but I picked this one mainly because it was smaller. I think now that I'm like talking through this, I might like the Glossier one a little bit better, but I'm okay to just kind of have this around in this bag. So I picked 2 highlighters. I picked the Becca Opal highlighter. This is my favorite highlighter that I own. I have a really big dip in there. Let me see. I have a really big dip in there. In my opinion, all highlighters should come in this size. Like, it's the perfect highlighter size, and it is really, really beautiful. And then I picked MAC's Double Gleam. In the end, while I've been enjoying the Colourpop highlighter stick, I ultimately prefer powder, so I chose this guy. And I have really been liking it. The rest of the face products are all honestly just boring. I have 2 mascaras and then 2 brow products and then my eyeliner. These are really just the mascaras that are open right now. This is the Mineral Fusion mascara. I got this for Christmas last year. And then this is the Laura Mercier Caviar Volume Mascara. Both of these are nice. I like this one more, but they're open, so that's just what's in here. And I like them enough to wear them. I also have 2 brow products. I'm still working on the Essence Make Me Brow, and then this Quo Beauty Brow Pencil. I'm pretty close with this one, and this is the brow product that I currently have open. I really feel like I'm kind of close with this one. It's not my favorite, like I own ones that are better that I love, but I like this well enough that I'm like, okay to just kind of have it in here because I really want to pan it. And then the last thing is the Colourpop eyeliner. It's the only nude eyeliner that I own. I am ready to finish it. I would really love it to be out of my collection. The last product before we get into like the eyes and lips is this Colourpop highlighter. I don't actually know what color it is, but I use this strictly as my inner corner highlight, and I will use this for literally 5 years until it runs out. Maybe I'll use it as a face highlighter, but I really like it for the inner corner. Wear it every single day. It's the only one that I use. Okay, let's talk about lip products next. I have 4 lipsticks and 3 lip glosses. The first one is Glossier's Jam. I have the color Like as well, and I think the colors are very, very similar, but Jam is just more punchy. So I like this color, and it's like a bold lip without actually being all that bold. Next up are 2 nudes, or light nudes if you will. This is Blankety by MAC. I think Blankety and Love You Back are my 2 favorites from MAC, like my top 2. But because the Becca lipstick is so close, this is in Sugar. This one is much creamier, and then this one is a little bit more on the matte side. So I like the 2 formula combos, and the colors are a little bit different. I am wearing Sugar on my lips now. I really do like the Becca formula, and it's really like a top lipstick color for me, and I think the bullet is really beautiful. When I was picking these lipsticks, I really, I had Blankety and I had Love You Back and I had Sugar lined up, and that was like, it was difficult to choose between those 3. It was really a choice between Blankety and Love You Back because they were so similar, and they both had a very similar formula. They might even be the same formula. Either way, I realized that in terms of nude lipsticks, I don't need as big of a variety as I thought that I did. That was a learning lesson, I guess, for me. And then the last lipstick is my Bite Multi-Stick in Cashew. It's a little bit darker, and it, again, is more on the matte side. And to me, these 2 are pretty similar, but this one feels different, more dark and more nude than these other lipsticks that are more pink. So it really does feel like a different lipstick. So I chose 3 lip glosses, 2 Fenty and 1 Colourpop. This is the Fairy Floss lip gloss, and I have 1 more milky pink color left in my collection after this one. That one is more pink, and this one is more on the nude side. I chose this over the other one. It's a Wet n Wild shade, because this one is already ready to go, and I do like the formula, and so I just would rather finish this and kind of have it on its way out and just kind of like finish it completely. And I really like layering this lipstick over the Bite Multi-Stick. Speaking of lip liner, I didn't pull it out, but it's like the one that I've been working on. I really, really like this, so no surprise. And then the 2 glosses are the Fenty glosses, well, the other ones. This is probably my favorite gloss of the moment in Sweet Mouth, and then I really, really think that the Fenty Glow Gloss is going to be good for the springtime. Let me just put some on now. Can't believe I'm that person. I really like this gloss. So these are the 3, and I like the Fenty glosses because I can wear them alone without anything. When you have a milky pink gloss, in my opinion, just on me, I don't usually wear it alone because it can look streaky and then it makes me look more pale, whereas these glosses are more on the natural side. Looking through all my glosses, I did realize that this is the only like pink gloss that I have, and this is probably my favorite shade of gloss, or favorite color of gloss, is a pink one. So I really do feel like I have something missing in my collection. So I am also interested in maybe picking up another pink gloss. I've been looking at the Maybelline ones, but again, not something urgent. And ultimately, like, my theories will be tested this month when I live out this makeup basket. The last category is eyeshadows, and I chose 3 pot shadows. I am a one and done kind of eyeshadow gal. I do have palettes in here that also will allow me to do that, but I do really love a single shadow. So I first picked the Colourpop Super Shock and I Heart This. This is a cool toned kind of silvery shade. Really like this, and not something that's present in really any of my other palettes. And the reason why I chose all of these shades is that they're not really present either in color or formula like what's in my other palettes. So I also picked the Charlotte Tilbury shadow in Oyster Pearl, classic kind of bronzy color. And then I also picked the Hourglass single shadow in Reflect. The last segment of things are eyeshadow palettes. I picked 5. That's absolutely excessive. I just, like, I couldn't decide because they all kind of seemed different enough. So I guess I'll just talk you through it. And ultimately, like, honestly, if I don't use one of these, then I think that will say a lot about what I assume my preferences are versus what they actually are. And that's still a good test of what I like. And it's definitely worth an experiment in my eyes. So the first palette that I picked is my own. I created this. This is what she looks like. I've had this palette in this iteration for a few months, maybe 6, and it has some of my favorite tones. These are all Colourpop or MAC shades. Honestly, majority of them are Colourpop. And this is just like familiar shades that I really love, and I know exactly how to work with them and like what kinds of color combinations I like. This is one palette that I want like in my collection always. Such a true, genuine love of mine. The next palette I chose is this one. It's the Colourpop Sweet Talk palette. This is a very seasonal palette for me. And this is something I bring out in the spring and summer. There's a chance that this may be a hair or tad early. I tend to get more into this in like maybe May, maybe April. So we'll see how much use I get out of it, but I look at it and I feel really inspired just by looking at it. So a summer palette, a spring palette, but is it too early? We'll see. Palette number 3 is the 3CE. I really wanted like a pinky palette, and this is something that I really wanted in here. The Sweet Talk palette is more like peach tones, and then this one is more like browns. They really are very, very different. So I'm okay having both. And then I guess just to compare my palette, I think this comparison is also helpful. I really like these kinds of colors, and hopefully I haven't overkilled the pink theme. The next palette is Modern Renaissance. Like a genuine love of mine. I could have put this away and said, no thanks, I'm working on, I don't have to put it in because I'm allowed to pick whatever I want, but I still put it in because I love it that much. The next palette is the Natasha Denona Glam palette. There she is, we're very familiar with her. I love this neutral color scheme, and I really wanted to make sure I had a pure neutral palette. I'm very curious about how the palette situation is. The stupid light. I am very curious to see how the palette situation is going to go. Do I want a more neutral situation, a more like brown situation? Did I pick too much pinks? This palette, like I do love the mauves, but this one also has some browns in it as well. So we'll really have to see. And so this is part my answer to the overwhelm, but also a way to get to know my collection in a specific kind of way and my preferences in a specific kind of way, and I really welcome doing that. So those are all of my picks. That is my makeup bag for the next couple of months probably, and I'm really excited to play with. So my camera has been overheating, trying to figure that out, but it cut me off and I had to go teach. So I wasn't able to wait out the time to end the video. So here I am. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really glad that you took the time to watch my video today, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.